we were involved in a road accident where somebody had abandoned their truck, which I think it had broken down, and it was at night, so we didn't see it. They had not put any lifesavers or anything, so we just rammed into it. I actually had severe injuries. I had a head injury. I had fractures basically everywhere except my spine. So he understood I had an accident when I was pregnant, and it was this severe. So his conclusion was, when I had the accident, I overbled, I lost fluid, and at that stage when the baby's brain is developing, the most they need, what should be least denied, is oxygen and blood to the brain.
Yes. Wow.
Nani naweza taka apitie hayo?
Yeah.
Hakuna. Not even my worst enemy. None. And if somebody had to go through this for God's glory, why not? 11 days down the line, she's not improving.
Wow.
And I think my conversions were always triggered by stress.
By such,
yeah, anything sad, anything that bothers me too much, pressure. So I think by the 11th day, it was extremely bad for me.
What's up, God's people? This is your brother and your friend Erick Mungai, bringing to you the Epic Show. This is where faith meets purpose and stories of impact, transformation, and resilience come to life. At the Epic Show, we delved in real life stories, stories that will make you sit at the edge of your seat and give glory to God, because you will understand that in this time and day, we still have stories of Job. You remember how Job was slapped upside down by the devil, lost cattle, lost everything, lost families, lost almost everything. We have such a similar story. We have a female version of Job. But before that, we are hosted by Pickrest Homes. It's a serene environment. We have in-room services. We have ample parking, secure place. We have in-rooms. We have spacious rooms. Kindly, the numbers are on your screen if you really desire their service. I'd like to introduce Madini Waters. Madini Waters is the leading brand company in the nation. They have a refill and packaging. They are a refill and packaging water company with 5 years in the market, and also an award-winning company in providing quality, affordable water. Free delivery with fully dressed branded riders. So usiletwe rider na mtu mwenye haja dress, hajakuwa branded na Madini, and then aseme ni Madini Waters, all right? So if you need their details, their number is on the screen. Kindly reach out to them and get the most beautiful, purified water. But without further ado, I'd like to invite our guest, the female version of Job, to tell her story. Karibu sana, Madam Christine.
Thank you.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay.
Yes.
Yeah, by God's grace, I'm doing very fine.
I have introduced you as the female version of Job.
Yes.
The way Job ali lose almost everything.
First of all, let me be grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah.
I consider it a privilege because I get a chance to bring glory to God, to let people know the truth about God, that indeed He is faithful and He does what no man can do. Like he introduced my name, I'm Christine Hannah Gitaka, born and bred in Kenya. I schooled in Kampala, in my university, and that's where I met the love of my life. In 2009, May, we did a wedding in Nairobi, then went back to Kampala. He worked in Kampala. So that's why we settled for a few months before everything turned around upside down. So, yeah, the wedding was beautiful. It was okay. It was a dream wedding. At that time.
Your dream wedding?
Yes, at that time it was my dream wedding, and I loved it. I enjoyed it. Family and friends were there, and yeah, it's what I think every lady would love to have. Then we went back to Kampala, and life went on.
Kanza life kama kawaida.
Exactly.
So fast forward to the scene of incident.
So this is 2009, May, then December, on Christmas night.
Christmas?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
We were involved in a road accident where somebody had abandoned their truck, which I think it had broken down, and it was at night, so we didn't see it. They had not put any lifesavers or anything, so we just rammed into it.
So you rammed into a truck?
Yes.
The husband was driving?
Yes.
Okay.
We were just the two of us. I was 4 months pregnant by then. So we rammed into this truck, and I was severely injured. He died on the spot. That's what I was told later, because after some time I became unconscious. But God has his own way of doing things, because at that point it was after midnight, but I was told it was some young kids who witnessed the accident, and they have an elder sister who was a doctor. So they dashed home. It was a residential area. So they dashed home and they told their sister there's an accident. Their sister called an ambulance, called the police, and when the ambulance got to the site, she took over and she took charge and she put me on drip, and that's how God made sure I survived.
Wow.
Yeah. She put me on drip, and I'm told I was stuck there for about 1.5 hours before the firefighters could get me out of the wreckage. Yeah. So
for 1.5 hours?
Yes.
But were you able to see that your husband is already dead?
No. I think in a short while I was
unconscious,
knocked out, because I bled a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was dashed to the hospital. She paid for the ambulance. She did so many. I don't
Talk
even know
about
her.
good Samaritans.
She's a I think a Swedish or something.
Right.
She's half Ugandan, half Swedish.
Okay.
She had come to Kampala for a family's funeral, a family member's funeral, but God had brought her to save someone else's life.
Wow, yeah, that is true.
So she
paid for all these things, and then you were taken to the hospital?
And she specified the hospital I was to be taken to,
Yeah.
which by then was the best hospital.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was an international hospital.
Uh-huh. Back in Uganda?
Yeah.
Okay.
And luckily I had just bought a medical insurance with the same hospital barely 2 months before.
Okay.
So I think the card was swept off within less than 2 days.
Because of the bill.
Cover. Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually had severe injuries. I had a head injury. I had fractures basically everywhere except my spine.
Wow.
I had fractures everywhere except my spine. Talk of the head, talk of both hands, talk of both legs. I have plates. I think some of my kgs are from metals, not my own weight. But I was admitted in an ICU in that hospital for about 3 days. Then I woke up.
Okay.
But I don't remember anything. I don't remember the accident. I don't remember the hospital stay. So when I woke up, that's when they took me to theater. They fixed the plates on both legs. I have plates on both legs because they were badly fractured. Then family decided I should come closer home.
Now this is your family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I should specifically say both my immediate family and my in-laws, where I had just been married. It was barely 8 months after our wedding. So they agreed they should bring me home, and road was not possible, so they organized and I was airlifted.
Airlifted back to Kenya?
Yeah. I was brought to the Aga Khan hospital, where I was admitted.
Still to continue with treatment?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, it is like 50% was done in Kampala. When I got to Aga Khan, they did the investigations, and that's where they found I had a head injury, a bad one. So the left side of my head was kind of crushed. The skull was crushed. I was taken to theater for about 6 hours to reconstruct my skull.
Wow.
So I normally have some metal discs on the left side of my head. And that is what brought back much of my normal look of my face and my head. But then I also suffered, because of that skull fracture, I suffered a brain injury.
Wow.
Yeah. So remember, I'm 4 months pregnant.
So you're going through all this, and there's another life growing in you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so they took care of me. They did a good job, and the fetus survived. I understand the hospital in Kampala was almost certain I was going to miscarry because of the impact. But my heart rates were very poor, but the fetus heart rates were perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
God's
I mean, God just does miraculous things you can't explain. Yeah. So I was in the hospital for almost a month. Then I was discharged for home care. Discharged on condition I'll have a nurse at home. And my sister-in-law, I must mention her, she's Esther Anjiro Mwangi. She took me to her house.
Your sister-in-law?
Yeah. At first I was taken to a friend's house. Her name is Wamoyo. Because my sister's house was upstairs.
Yeah,
I could not be taken upstairs. So I stayed at my friend's place. And then later I was moved to my sister's house, my sister-in-law's house. Yeah. Who had her own children, like 4 of them, and her husband and a house help, and she still had space for me.
Oh, that's a darling heart.
Yeah. So I stayed with them until full term, 40 weeks.
It took you 40 weeks?
Yes, my EDD was 30th April. My baby girl was born on 1st May.
1st May.
Yes.
How was the pregnancy? Was it safe? Was it secure? Alizaliwa normal? Milestones zote?
Yeah, the pregnancy was safe. Once in a while I would tell my doctor I would not feel her playing or the normal feelings that moms experience. But they told me maybe she's already too big, so maybe she doesn't have space to play. I was always worried, but the doctor told me it's okay. Which I was happy about, because otherwise maybe they would have terminated the pregnancy.
Yeah.
So 40 weeks, by this time I'm still on a wheelchair.
Wow.
Yes.
While still pregnant?
I left the hospital on a stretcher. I stayed at my sister's place. They had a therapist come home, made effort. He had a hard time because I was resisting. It was too painful to start standing and walking again. Okay. So he trained me to walk on crutches. I was on crutches for quite a while after delivery. Before delivery, I was always on wheelchair. Yeah. Then after delivery, now he taught me how to walk. And I was on crutches for almost an year.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
Let me ask this. While going through all this process, mind ya kuterminate pregnancy ili kukujia?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Because you see nowadays, kuna mtu ana experience kitu kidogo tu anafikiria how they can just get rid of the pregnancy.
No, it never did.
It never did. Did the doctor suggest?
No. Wow. And that's why I appreciate the fact that they did not notice there was anything wrong with my child.
Yeah, because if they did earlier, they could have suggested.
Yeah. So, take you back a bit. My husband died on the spot. So I was airlifted to the hospital and he was brought by road.
Okay.
But by this time, I'm told the news was being broken to me. I think I would break down and they would sedate me. Then when I would wake up, the same question, where is my husband?
You lost that?
Yeah. It took me about 3 weeks to understand that it's normal. And even when I understood what they told me. But inside me, I believed he is somewhere. Maybe he's in a worse condition. So they opted to give me the worst scenario. Yeah. So it took me about...
So still you're in denial?
I was in denial. The whole of 2010, I was in denial.
The entire year? Wow.
The whole of 2010, I was in denial. And this was when Thika Road was under construction. Yeah. And my ushago, my marital shags is Maragua. So to go to Maragua, we needed to use Thika Road. Yes. And my mother-in-law was very caring. May she rest in peace. She made sure I never went to Ushago.
For real?
Yeah, she told my sister-in-law not to take me to Ushago.
Because you could see the grave?
Not really. Her concern was the trucks on the road, the tippers on the road, while Thika Road was under construction.
Wow. Yeah, because there were plenty.
Yeah. So she told my sister-in-law, that's when I came to learn later, that she told my sister-in-law, if you bring her along Thika Road and she sees those trucks, she'll remember the accident. So the whole of 2010, I never went to Shags. And remember, this is a family that I had never known before. I had never lived with them.
This loving and caring.
I never lived with them. I lived in Kampala. We came home, did our wedding, and went back to Kampala.
So
they were naturally loving. If you total up the number of days we had been with them during the wedding plans and all that, they would not add up to 3 months. They would not. We were living in Kampala, you dash to Nairobi for 2-3 days, then you go back. So they just loved.
Wow.
So for his funeral, I was never there because the doctors said I would not leave the ambulance.
But they took you close by.
No. I was requested to allow them to do the funeral in my absence because they never knew how long it would take for me to recover enough to go. And as usual, in our culture, we don't keep the bodies for that long. So I gave my consent. I wrote down my tribute. It was a one-sentence thing.
But still in denial.
Still in denial in a hospital bed.
Do you remember what you said to him?
Yes, I just wrote. I said, I loved you, and I'm glad for the time we spent, and I promise to take care of our baby, just like we would have taken care of her if you were here.
Oh. Wow. Stories of life, the things that happen to people. You have to understand that life, success is never linear. It's never given at ukitoka point A utafika point Z. There are pitfalls, there are valleys, there are mountains, but you have to navigate and allow the leading of the Holy Spirit always to be with you so that you can be able to bring your best version at every season. So tushapata mtoi. Had you named the kid mkiwa na baba mtoto?
No.
So you chose a name for the child, male or female?
She was female, and I had already decided when she comes, if it's a baby girl, she would be Erica. My husband's name was Erick. So if it was a girl, I had picked Erica. If it was a boy, Erick.
Erick.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Erica was born at full term, and she was a beautiful, lovely baby. She was born at 2.5 kgs. With all the injuries and fractures, I had a broken jaw. So for about 3-4 months, I was on liquidized food. I was not eating as much. Actually, I was using a straw because I had braces tied all over my jaw and my dental formula. So 2.5 kgs was good enough. And she grew well. She breastfed normally. And when we took her for her about 3 months clinic, the doctor asked me at 4 months, when she was 4 months old, the pediatrician asked me, does your baby focus on things? Does she notice your face? Does she smile at things? Does
so
she
at this particular moment, how did you notice anything
at all?
Different on Toi?
Yeah, she was my firstborn. I had not brought up
Yeah,
any
there was
babies.
no experience.
So, yeah. So, and she was chubby. You could not. I could not tell she had any issues.
Yeah.
So when this doctor asked, does she focus? Does she blah blah? Does she smile? No. Then the doctor told me. I was still with my sister-in-law, the same sister-in-law of mine. The doctor told us, I think she has a problem.
Not again.
So I asked her, what problem? Said, I think she has a problem that you require to see a neurological pediatrician.
What?
So there's some terminologies you get to hear them when with your first experience. You're like, so what is that?
Yeah, I almost asked you, who is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neuropediatrician is a doctor who is a doctor for kids with brain problems.
Oh. So already ashakupe a pointer. We might be having some problems with the brain
because even her head, the circumference is not. It's supposed to be bigger than this.
And the head was smaller.
And I could not notice. Even my sister, I think she had not noticed that the head was smaller. See, she had my cheeks, and she had like a beautiful, big, normal head for a baby. So she referred us to a neuropediatrician. We left that place with great hope. This baby is very okay. So I went to the neuropediatrician in Kenyatta Hospital.
So before you go there, you're speaking faith.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, no, we can't be going through something new again. And I'm still on crutches.
You're still on crutches.
I'm still on crutches.
So what I'm doing, anabebwa na sister-in-law.
Exactly.
And you're telling devil, not again.
Not again.
You can't strike twice.
Whoever said a storm cannot strike the same place twice was wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you get to the
Even
neuropediatrician.
tries it does.
Uh-huh.
So we get to the neuropediatrician and he looks at her and like, even before I send you for a test, I can tell this child has a problem.
Oh.
Then he writes, go for a CT scan. And we go for the CT scan. So you come back and he looks at the results, then he asks me how was the pregnancy. So he understood I had an accident when I was pregnant. And it was this severe. So his conclusion was, when I had the accident, I overbled, I lost fluid, and at that stage when the baby's brain is developing, the most they need, what should be least denied, is oxygen and blood to the brain.
Yes.
And that is what she was denied.
So that is what affected the baby.
Yeah, that's what damaged the baby's brain. Actually, it did not develop.
Oh.
Yes. So this doctor tells us, the consequences, your baby will not meet her milestones like every other child. Others will sit at 6 months, maybe yours will sit at 1 year or 2. Okay, whatever he explained gave me hope. I was like, if she'll sit at 2 years, as long as she'll sit, it's not a problem. If she'll go to school at 8 years instead of 5, it's okay. I have her here with me. And then we went home and then he recommended therapy. He actually even recommended that we see a neurologist, a neurosurgeon, to see if there's anything that could be done surgically. So the doctor said, no, your daughter just needs therapy. You don't need to do any surgery. So we started the therapy journey. And that is where I abandoned my therapy journey.
To focus on
her journey.
Oh.
So even me, with therapy, I did not recover maximally. Like I cannot, to date, I cannot squat.
Oh, you can't squat?
Yeah, because now I abandoned my therapy, so some tendons just tightened as they were and all that. So there's some things I can't do like I would have if I had continued with therapy. But I needed to concentrate on Erica. And I was not on a job.
All this time on a job?
Sasa sina kazi.
But the sister-in-law is supporting you fully?
My sister-in-law is supporting me. A lot of friends and family, I can't even start mentioning their names.
Wow.
People supported us. The first time I knew the price of diaper was when she was about 15 months old.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Wow.
All her supplies. Her clothes, before she was born, a whole suitcase came from a relative from abroad. A whole suitcase. And she had predicted a baby boy, so she sent a whole suitcase of blue outfits.
Wow.
And I still dressed her in them. They were beautiful.
Yeah.
So
everything while you're
was
going
provided
through all
for her.
this, everything has been provided, but calamity has struck twice.
Yes.
Unauliza God maswali?
Interestingly enough, never.
At this time, were you born again?
Yes, I was.
Na hakuna mahali unakaa hivi unauliza God, kwani una mtu mwingine wa kupelekea hizi vitu?
I was born again, and I've never understood how I never questioned him. To date, everything I've gone through, hakuna siku niliwahi muuliza swali.
To date?
To date, hakuna siku niliwahi muuliza swali. The worst thing I ever did to him was to tell him, take me, I'm tired.
Oh, so because after all these things, ilifika place ukaona this is just too much.
Yeah.
This is just too much.
After the accident, when I was brought to a Nairobi hospital, and then I started understanding what was happening to me, I was still pregnant. When I started understanding my husband is gone and I'm almost crippled, I told him, no, I'm tired. I want to just take me. That was my prayer. Every time I would sleep and I'm like, don't let me wake up. And I would wake up and the doctors would come every single day and they're like, wow, she's improving. And I'm like, what do you mean? I had like 5 doctors. All of them, they would come. The one who did
all
the
of
head
these
surgery,
are paid.
this other one. Every doctor is like, she's improving so well. So reached a point I was like, okay, God, I told you to take me and they're just saying I'm improving. Now give me the strength to go through this. That's what I said. And from the moment I said that, I don't know. I just found myself, if you'd see the photos I took, you'd think I'm the happiest person. I mean, I'm hospital bed with plasters and metals in my legs, but I was smiling and laughing.
Wow.
Yeah.
From the moment you told God, give me the strength.
Give me the strength to pull through this. Those were my exact words. Give me the strength to pull through this. Umekataa kunichukua, nipatie nguvu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So Erick ameanza therapy yake,
ameanza therapy
umeachana na yako.
Yeah. My sister-in-law, her husband, they would always organize who will take us to Kenyatta from South Sea twice a week.
These are good people.
Very.
These are rare people.
Very, very, very. My mother-in-law from Maragua, she would just organize 5 liters maziwa. Hii ya leo haipelekwi sokoni, it's going to Nairobi because of this family here.
That's a loving family.
So, fast forward, Erica grows. Erica is about almost 1 year. Then she does something we didn't understand what it was.
What was that?
It was a conversion.
A conversion?
Yeah. She was about 9 months old.
Uh-huh.
Conversions are very common with cerebral palsy patients.
Okay.
So she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, severe cerebral palsy.
But so far hujaiona kitu kama hiyo. Up to that time.
Kama hiyo. You know, you'll see people, maybe you'll see someone with a child who's not like everybody else, abled differently, and you don't understand. You just know people are born like that. People get into accidents and they end up like that. But you've not taken care of one. So this was a whole new journey. Then we went to hospital, so the same doctor. So his conclusion was they are convulsions. So we had to start taking medication for anticonvulsants. Yeah, we had to put her on. She was on all sorts of anticonvulsants. She was on, all her life she was on anticonvulsants.
Wow.
Yeah. So we went on. And then now this is 2010. She was born on 1st May 2010. So towards the end is when we realized that she has this problem. So we introduced the drug. Then December, we used to go, okay, the norm is watu huenda ushago for Christmas.
Na Christmas, well, by the mention of Christmas, haikurudishi trauma because this accident ilifanyika around Christmas.
I hated Christmas for about 5 years.
I would imagine so.
I hated Christmas for about 5 years.
So when people are gathering, making merry,
I'll be there.
You are there.
You wouldn't even know it bothers me.
But it was bothering you?
Yes.
Wow.
I hated it.
Wow.
But I would join everybody else as
You're just smiling, but deep inside unajiuliza, where is my husband? It was in such a day. Wow.
So Christmas came and now it's time for us to go to Shago. Where are we going? Maragua. Now the roads are okay. The trucks are not on. The trucks are not on the road. We went and arrived in the evening. And in the morning I asked my youngest brother-in-law. He was, I think, in primary 4, 5, around there. I asked him, where did you bury your brother?
Up to this time, hujui?
Hata sahi sijui.
Hata sahi?
No, that it is in 2010.
No, but by 2010, how
Yes, December. A whole year, my mom told my sister not to take me to Shago. So I didn't know. And remember, I'm in denial, so I'm not even bothered. I know he's somewhere.
He will just pop up.
Yeah, he's somewhere. Maybe he's just still under treatment, so he's just somewhere.
My goodness.
So this is when reality hit. I asked my brother, and he's small and young, and he doesn't even know what to do. I've asked him, and he innocently texts me.
Aya. Hakuwa amepewa memo.
Hata kama alikuwa amepewa, maybe he doesn't even know. He wouldn't. He was in, I think, standard 4 or 5.
So he takes you to the grave.
So he takes me to the grave. The last I remember is seeing the grave. That's it. I blacked out. Oh dear. Yeah, because
Na bado kuna clutches hiyo?
Yeah, but I was quite stable. I could within the compound, anywhere with good terrain, I would just walk on my own, pole. So the next thing I wake up, I'm on the couch. What happened? Ulifeni tuko kwa farm, kwa shamba.
Hawakuambii karibu na kaburi?
So from that time, it became frequent.
Fainting became frequent.
Yeah, I would just feel like confusion, some smell of smoke or something, things that are not there. I would just experience weird feelings and then just black out. I wouldn't fall, maybe just fall asleep, call it falling asleep. So I was taking Erica for her clinic at the neuros. So I asked that doctor. I told him, by the way, even me, I've been experiencing these symptoms. I didn't understand what they were, but I thought since this is a doctor, maybe he'll know. I explained what I was experiencing, and he told me to go for a CT scan. I went for a CT scan, brought it back. He suffered a brain injury And those are conversions you're suffering.
As well?
Yes.
Wow.
So when I had the head injury, I suffered the front side, the left front side of the brain was injured.
But these are how many years do wanakuja kunotice hii story?
1 year later.
1 year later.
Yeah. So it's kind of, sometimes you may have a condition in your brain, but it's waiting for a trigger.
Oh.
So it was triggered by
the site of the grave. Okay.
Yeah, because for a whole year I never had convulsions. Yeah. The first one hit 1 year later.
But sasa pale venye umeamka, did you remember ulikuwa umeenda kwa grave?
Yeah. I remember.
And now the family had to explain.
Yeah, and I still went back, but severally, so I got used.
So daktari amediagnose ukona.
Yeah, he diagnosed it is a brain injury, so I need to be on anticonvulsants too.
So you buy one for you?
I buy some for my daughter and some for myself. And those are, they're some of the expensive drugs for lifetime drugs. They're some of the expensive drugs. Yeah, and you'll keep changing them. You're on this one, it's not effective, then you change to this other one. They keep trying until you get what works best for you. So my daughter and I were on those drugs. Sometimes my daughter would be on like 4 different types of drugs. I'm on 3 different types. I'm on 2 different types. And then we were okay. We grew. God gave me a job. I had started, when I was in Kampala, I met a Ugandan lady who was married abroad. And she had come up with a design. She was patented with a design of a blouse for ladies who are nursing. So it's a blouse which you would comfortably breastfeed in public. And I happened to get one when I was in Kampala. So when I would go for clinics with Erica, people would sit and other moms would be like, where did you get that? Where did you get that? I don't have a job. So it hit us like, why don't I try getting those blouses and selling them locally? I don't have any capital. I'm actually 100% dependent. Me and my daughter, we are depending on others. I'm depending on my sister and her family and the entire extended family and other well-wishers and friends. So I looked for the contact for that lady because she introduced the clothes at the hospital where I was going for antenatal, which is the same hospital that treated me after the accident in Kampala. So I contacted the hospital. They gave me the contact for that lady. Okay. I spoke to her, told her I asked her whether she has a market in Kenya. She told me no. I asked her if I would be the marketer in Kenya. She said it's okay. I told her I don't have any capital with me, but I want to sell them.
Did she understand the story?
No, I didn't explain to her anything. Okay. I just told her I want to sell her blouses here because I already have one and people asking about it. She sent me 60 pieces.
Without money?
Without money. She told me, there they are, is this much, send me my money once you sell them.
Wow.
Who does that?
Talk about God's providence.
Yes.
So even in the midst of these dark things, dark places, you are still seeing the hand of God.
I'm still seeing the hand of God.
See, child of God, you have to understand that life vile iko, kuna ma situations zitakuja zingine ni ngumu sana, but you have to look for the gospel in it. You have to look for the beautiful pieces in that story, because ebu imagine if it were you. This is why I introduced her as the female version of Job. Remember, married to the love of your life, so you're very happy, extremely happy, uko hapa. Then all of a sudden you ram into a track, the spouse dies instantly. All right, kutoka hapo ni hosi back to back. As though that was not enough, calamity strikes twice. Mtoi akona issue of brain. But you see, majority of us are giving up. Majority of us are quitting and committing suicide simply because maze hujalipwa mshahara ya 2 months. No, really, we need to be people of resilience. No, imagine this has happened to one particular person and she still has hope. It's not complaining, not whining. But some of us, ukiuliza mtu by this time, sisi ukiuliza mtu, why did you stop going to church? Atakwambia some flimsy reasons. Yeah. Why don't you love God? Flimsy reasons. And then you see somebody who has walked this journey and still has their faith intact. Kweli unataka kuingia mbinguni moja na yeye? Tafakari hayo. So tumetumia blouse 60 free, hakuna do.
Yeah. She was giving me at 800 shillings per piece.
Yeah.
And
800 in 2010.
yes.
This must have been a good blouse.
It was. It had everything intact. So
What do you
only
mean by everything
open,
intact?
It had all the things that you require as a female.
So I don't know the paraphernalia. Too much information.
Okay. So then you just open a zip and you breastfeed your child. You don't need to expose your body. So when I got them, I did not have to look for the market.
The market was ready.
Hey, you still want the there were like 4 colors. Somebody would say, I want all the 4 colors. I want 2 colors. And guess how much I was selling them at?
How much?
2,000 shillings.
Ooh. 1,200 per blouse.
And
so my clear stock.
And I got them. I was actually an apprentice at my current employer's place. So by then I was an apprentice. So I go to work, the head office in Nairobi. I don't have a salary. I don't have even upkeep. So I go to the office, 5 on the dot. When I leave, I've talked to a client who lives in Buruburu. I have no idea where Buruburu is because I never lived in Nairobi before.
Because majority of our viewers need the young people. All right. If you ask a Gen Z to volunteer their services, hapo ndo mmeachania. But by the way, it's true.
Yeah.
If you ask any Gen Z, volunteer your services to a certain institution, go learn. Just go learn. Hapo ndio wewe nao umeachania. But you have to see, angalia the condition. Baby ni mgonjwa, yeye mwenyewe ni mgonjwa, but she's still volunteering her services. Wewe uko na akili timamu, miguu zimesimama vizuri, you are well figured, well shaped by God, but you can never volunteer your services so that you can go and learn. This is the main difference. See, this is a show that empowers you to take charge over your life. You've got to be very passionate about what you want to do in life. And the way we define passion is something that you really love doing. You can do it for free, but you do it so well that people are compelled to pay you for doing it. What is that thing? Hebu jitafute. Unapenda mechanics, lakini huwezi enda kwa garage ya msee akufanyie, ukae tu akupeage tu lunch rudi home. Mimi mtu hawezi nitumia, endelea. Wewe unapenda videography, lakini huwezi, you cannot go volunteer anywhere your services. Listen to this story. So kwa apprenticeship na tumepewa blouse.
Yes.
So unatumia msee Buruburu.
Yes.
Did you know the person?
No, customers will just agree. At 5 p.m. I'll leave town and bring it to you. So I'll do delivery.
You had a car by this time?
No, I was on PSV and on crutches.
Oh dear. Talk about resilience.
I was on PSV and crutches. So I would carry the blouses, go to the office with them. At 5, I call you, give me direction. Nikipanda gari namba ngapi nashukia wapi?
Na unashuka na clutches?
Yeah.
Na mzigo ya customer?
And the customer has already bargained, so I'm giving them at 1,800 or something like that.
Hey.
So I land to your house and you're like, oh my God, you're on crutches. You should have told me to come pick them. I tell them, no, it is my job. I needed to deliver them.
Wow.
And over 80% of the clients would pay me the price I had quoted at first.
When they see you.
Yes.
You kukusikilia uishe, what did that make you feel?
I think it was like, okay, now huyu mtu nimebageni hivyo vyote and they didn't know who I was dealing with. And so it took me through because I could afford to pay a house help in Ushago. By then I could not live with my child. My child had to stay with her shushu.
With her condition.
My mother-in-law in Maragua. So I would do this whole week thing then, because it's a government institution. We were working Monday to Friday. So weekends I would go home to check on her.
Oh, okay.
Then
so mzigo imeisha, wewe nipe good news kidogo. Mzigo imeisha
yes, mzigo inaisha na inaisha ingine and then it reached a point. The apprenticeship was for about 5 to 6 months. When I got a confirmation letter, the exact day I got a confirmation letter, an appointment letter. Appointment with
who now?
With where I was, okay. Where I'm working to date with my employer. When I got an appointment letter, the same day, my supplier told me, unfortunately, we will no longer be producing the blouses.
So they were to sustain you. Just like Elijah was sustained in a brook.
They were just to sustain me.
The very same day,
The
unakuwa
very
confirmed
day.
kwa job.
Yes.
Supply naye inaisha.
Actually, it was an appointment. Confirmation came later, but the appointment letter alone, I was sure I got a job.
And immediately, the
same day, the lady sent me a text in the evening and told me, unfortunately, we'll no longer be producing the blouses because she was producing them from Norway. So she told me producing them from Norway, then bringing them to the African market is becoming very expensive. And she's been looking for somewhere to produce them locally, but she's not finding somebody to do that quality. I even did I inquired from EPZs in Kenya to see if they can produce them. None.
Oh, really?
So I was like, okay, she has sustained, this business has sustained me to this point. Now I have a salary.
Hey, see God.
See God. I mean, my whole life has been planned. It has been planned by God in such a way that when I get to the end of this point, he picks up with a new surprise.
Wow.
A new and better surprise.
Wow.
Posted to a branch. That's why I live in Muranga to date.
Oh, they posted you to Muranga?
Yes.
Okay.
Which was quite convenient because now with all my conditions...
Did they consider that?
They didn't consider my home. They don't even know. Okay, of course, the ones you work with know, but from head office, they don't bother where you come from. But now, I had the privilege of... my immediate boss at head office, when he told me he was going to recommend me, I requested him not to recommend me to remain in his department because that only happens in Nairobi. And these PVC things with crutches and all that, it was too much for me.
It's too much.
And that's what they did. And by God's grace, they gave me a place where I was very comfortable with, because now when I went to Muranga, I would even commute to see Erick at her shosho's place. It's about 20 to 30 minutes away.
Okay.
So I would see Erick frequently, and eventually I took her and started living with her. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was in 2012.
That is when you were confirmed.
That's when I was confirmed. In 2012.
Naweza kuishi na mtoi.
Naweza kuishi na mtoi.
A lot of relief now.
Yeah. And another thing, I saw God's blessings. Hii mambo ya sijui you've changed house helps paka you lost count.
Yeah.
I never suffered that. Erica's nannies were appointed by God himself.
You mean that?
They were appointed by God himself. I was never worried.
At all.
And from my house to my office was less than 3 minutes walk. So I would just come in any time. I would pop in at 11. Instead of coming for my lunch break at 1, I'll come at 11. I instructed you to give baby her fruits at 10:30. So I'll find her clearing or just still having it. She overslept. So I knew everything was running. Niseme, she knows I leave work at 5. I'll dash out at around 3:30. Just go home and just... I never found anything disappointing.
Wow.
My daughter used to drool because of the condition. So she was always having feeders, and I told them, don't let her feeder get too wet because then she'll get cold. Not once did I find them like, ati ameachiliwa, she has uchafu with her, nini. They took good care of her. Those are other people that I can thank, because I would not do it alone. No. I would not. Even carrying her with crutches, carrying her with my weak legs, it was almost impossible. So even when looking for the nannies, I would tell them, from wherever they are, I would just explain to them, my child is this number of years old, but she's an infant. You'll do everything for her. Because she's 4 years, it does not mean she knows how to go for potty. You'll do everything for her like a 3-month-old.
Okay.
So there are no off days, because I cannot be left with Erica the whole day alone. I'll need somebody to help me lift her and all that. They were okay.
You mean that?
They were okay without charging extra. Ati unakuja, you tell me, hey, hiyo kazi yako ni nyingi sana, you have to, no. Wow. I paid them like every other nanny, and they were very, very good. Very good. Those ones were appointed by God.
I see God's hand in everything. Kuna vitu mingi sana you can point. The provisions, the leadings, the guidance, God.
Yeah.
In very many pieces of your story.
The destiny helpers. I mean, Every step of my life, God is seeing. Yeah.
Let me ask you, ukijiuliza why all this? Ushaika hivi ukajiuliza, why have I gone through all I've gone through? What is the lesson? Why exactly? Because I believe you are created in purpose and for a purpose.
When I did, I still give myself an answer and ask myself, why not?
Oh.
I ask myself, why not? And if not me, who else?
Wow.
Nani naweza taka apitie hayo?
Yeah.
Hakuna. Not even my worst enemy. None. And if somebody had to go through this for God's glory, why not?
Wow.
Why not?
That is maturity of faith.
Back then, I was not reasoning like that. But later on, after going through so many things and coming out victorious, nilisema tu, for God's glory. He's not done with you yet. Atakupitisha hata hapo.
There is the mention, when you're mentioning Erica, you're mentioning her in the past tense. Why is that? Because unasema she was. Yeah. When you're mentioning her, you're doing it in the past.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because later, in 2021, God decided she had fought enough fights.
It is okay. It is okay. It is well. It is well. Life is unique. Life is in seasons. Life is in stages. But in every season, the Bible tells us to rejoice and give thanks in every stage. Tumefika place, God has decided that Erica has fought a good fight and somehow finished her race.
Yeah.
And Daddy needs her home. So how did it happen?
Okay. In 2021, God decided
That is in
she
2021.
had fought enough fights and actually won them. Because what I had lost count of was the number of times we were in hospital.
Oh, you had lost count. So you were frequenting the hospital?
Hospital, surgeries, they help for a few months, then the same condition comes, reoccurs. So, and she would give you a smile even when her temperature was at 40.
Wow.
Yeah, she was just awesome. And with every good soldier, time comes for you to retire and rest. And
How did this happen?
in 2020, now, this is complicated. In 2020, both Erica and I were on the anticonvulsants, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
So in 2020, December, Erica was very ill. She had reflux. It's very common with children with cerebral palsy. So she would vomit. She would vomit until she has nothing else to come out, and she would still be vomiting. She would still be straining with it.
Was it normal for her to keep vomiting and all this?
It's quite common with cerebral palsy kids.
Okay.
Yeah, kids with
So
cerebral
what is
palsy.
miaka meishi, their years
All
of
those
pain?
years, all those years. Even the number of times we were in and out of hospitals because of that. Yeah, because when she vomited, she needed to be put on drip. She wasn't eating, so she had to be on drip, and then they put for her the anti-nauseas. And at some point, we even had a surgery when she was about 7 years old. We had a surgery to reduce the opening where food goes through and comes through, to see if it would reduce the vomiting. It would prevent food coming back.
Yeah.
So she suffered that for quite a while, for a number of years. It was very common, very common. She would not go for a week without throwing up her entire meal, or even a whole day's meal. Everything she's given, she throws up.
So this has been her journey.
Yeah. Those are the battles I'm talking about. She went through battles and she would even finish throwing up and start smiling.
Was there a time probably uliona, hey, God, mtu yamesuffer sana. You know, there's a way you can see someone you love suffering and you cannot be able to help them in any way.
Yeah.
Ulize God mazesi, please.
At some point I did. I actually think it's 2020. 2020, I'll actually appreciate my employer because I think 2020, I don't think I worked for half the year.
Half the year?
I don't think
Any
I worked.
time COVID?
Yeah, 2020. I don't think I worked for half the year because we were in and out of hospital. We are discharged today. I resume work after 2 days. Ametapika tena, then we dash back to hospital. So 2020, the year 2020, I don't think I served my corporation more than 6 months.
But they still retain you.
They retain me.
May God bless them.
Yeah.
Wow. So hapo ndo ilifika place ukaambia God, I think this is too much.
Yeah, at some point when I would receive those calls, ametapika tena, because I knew I would just go home and pack her bag for admission because I knew we were just going for admission. So at that point I was like, God, this is too much for my baby.
It's too much. It's too much, and there's nothing you can do when somebody is suffering.
Yeah.
You feel like unaweza ambia God, nipe hiyo pain yao mimi ni bebe.
Exactly.
But
She's helpless and I'm helpless.
Wow. And at this time bado unapiga anticonvulsant zako?
Ya zangu na zake.
But at least by this time hauko kwa clutches?
Yeah, by this time I always have, to date I still have one cane. It's a cane. I no longer use the crutches. I use a cane. I use it when necessary. Maybe if I go to a place where the terrain is not very good, I might need it. So the rest of the time I'm okay. I came here walking hands-free, right?
Yeah, you came walking by there.
Yeah.
And you drive?
So, yes.
Wow.
So
ni hapo to 2020. This is when the burden has
December
been very
2020,
heavy.
yeah. December 2020, we were admitted in Muranga. The hospital in Muranga referred us to Nairobi. So we came to where her doctor was, which is in Aga Khan. We were admitted there. 11 days down the line, she's not improving.
Wow.
And I think my convulsions were always triggered by stress.
Such, yeah.
Yeah, anything sad, anything that bothers me too much, pressure. So I think by the 11th day, it was extremely bad for me.
Oh.
So when the nurse
pressure
came
side
to...
yako pia increase.
Yeah. So when the nurse who came to check on my baby at night found me convulsing.
They found you convulsing?
Yeah.
So it's by God's providence waliingia hiyo time?
Yeah. She found me convulsing, and I remember I would count because it's something I would feel it coming. So I think in that one night I had nothing less of 6 episodes through the night. Yes. So in the morning, my doctor too was in the same hospital. So in the morning they told my doctor, and she came, and then she looked at my medication. She felt it was still a very small dosage. Maybe that's why it was not effective enough. And we increased the dose. She recommended that we would increase the dose from the 100 mg I was taking to about 150 mg. Then my daughter started getting better, and we were discharged in like about a week. I think we were discharged on 21st or something of December 2020.
I would like you to briefly look at the camera and encourage somebody mwenye ako in the grips of giving up, somebody who is almost giving up in life because of the things that they've been through. Hearing your story, what can you tell them?
This far we've come. It's by God's grace. And trust me, God is faithful. If I am here to tell you that there's no giving up as an option, believe it. God will always come through for you if you believe in Him. Trust in God. There's no such a thing as too much or extreme or the end, unless God says it's the end. So just hang in and hang on. God will always come through for you.
Wow. There you have it, beloved. This is what we had time for, but remember there's a part 2 coming. Remember, this is the epic show where we are empowering you a story at a time. God bless you. See you next time.